Del Rio, Texas. Rob Wade. And Robert Garza. Two guys who dive. This episode of Two Guys Who Dive recorded live Saturday, 16 March 2013, episode 59. It's the end of the world as we know it. Yes, and welcome once again to another fun-filled episode of Two Guys Who Dive, and I am your venerable host, Rob Wade, and I'm here with...
Bobby Flamingo.
A.K.A. Scuba Bob.
Scuba Bob.
A.K.A. Robert Garza. Well, how was your week?
Pretty good. It seemed to go by so fast, you know, spring break.
Oh, yeah?
I had all these plans to do all these things, and I didn't get to get it.
Really?
Not
Nothing.
one thing done.
So,
Nope.
okay, so what was the biggest, you know, it being spring break, what was the biggest obstacle?
You know, just laziness, I guess. I mean, I really don't know what
You?
Yeah, no, that just, you know, just things, sleeping late, waking
Yeah.
up late. The time change really kind of threw me off.
Yeah, it did a lot of our folks, too.
Because
Nobody was at church.
yeah, I mean, before you know it, going to bed late, you know, I'm thinking, okay, you know, spring break, I get
Right.
to stay up a little late.
Yeah.
When, you know, when the kids go to sleep, I get to watch TV in peace, you
Yeah,
know, no
yeah,
distractions. And, you know, going to bed at 2, 3, you know, sometimes even 4 o'clock in the morning, and then waking up and it's like already 2 o'clock in the afternoon, your day's just gone. What can I say?
So what kind of plans, had things gone as you
Planned.
expected, what were you going to actually accomplish?
You know, I needed to do a little bit of work on the roof with the turbines that are on the top of my roof.
Oh,
I was going to replace those.
So you still got the spinning kind that
Yeah.
they get old and
They're rusty.
They go,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
I
they're-
hate that.
Yeah, and I wanted to actually rake up the leaves. For some reason, the leaves at my house don't fall in the winter. They fall around this time. They fall around springtime, which is kind of weird, but, you know, yeah.
You
so-
got backwards plants, man.
Yep. So I wanted to do that, and the biggest thing that I really wanted to do was clean out my garage.
Wow.
You know, do a couple of trips to the dump. but
Right.
that didn't happen.
So you just got a lot of like spring cleaning things that have been accumulating, or stuff that you know, is like your annual thing, or is like, you know what, I have never gone in there and braved it to throw stuff out.
Well, you know, they're the little things that just accumulate. You know, like, well, I don't want to throw away that box. I might need it. Well, then that box turns into junk, you know, full
Right.
of junk, and it's just crazy.
Wow.
And I actually took the time and went through some of the things in the garage and realized I can do a lot. I can do without a lot of that stuff. So,
You know, that's an amazing thing. You know, people that do a lot of moving, like military,
Mhm.
You find things that you thought were so important to hold on to. Oh, we're not going to let go of that. You're like, you're on your third move, and you look through the stuff again. You're going, do I really need to hold on to this? Do I want to lug it to yet another location? You know, Tara and I have been through that because, you know, we were, you know, active duty for a while and went through that experience. Not nearly to the degree that a lot of people that we know have gone through, but
Right.
golly. So no spring cleaning, no rigging of the leaves. Anything else you were going to do?
that was pretty much it.
Well,
I did one thing I said I was going to do was sleep late. So I at least got that thing
take
done.
advantage of the sleeping late.
Yeah.
So nothing going on at the school that you had to deal with.
Well, the last week, for a whole week, I was actually reassigned to a different campus.
Oh, really? Now, which campus are you normally at? The high school?
I'm normally at the high school, but for a week I was assigned to an elementary campus.
Okay. Why an elementary campus? Do you have particular gangs are starting earlier or what?
The gang, there was a situation that I had to
Wow.
kind of deal with, but gang, I guess you could say that, but not of kids.
Oh, no.
Yeah, merely precautionary, but nothing happened. Thank the Lord. But I was just there just in case.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So it was really interesting. I don't know who was more frightened, the kids or the parents.
Oh no! And they see you coming, at them.
Well, when they see when they see an officer standing there in full body gear, full bulletproof vest, and just when they're not normally used to seeing somebody like that at their school, yeah, it's an eye-opening experience for them.
Wow. Well, my week has been pretty much the same. Of course, spring break just means that we don't have to deal with the bus traffic on base. So nothing really new there. But same work going on, networks and stuff like that, and dealing with all sorts of weird stuff. It's been a very frustrating couple of weeks for me. I can't go into a lot of it because it would violate OPSEC rules, but just suffice it to say, the way the network is set up at Laughlin is not like your typical business would set it up, even though they'd like to pretend it is. And so your ability to control issues, problems, starts to dwindle the further down to the bases that you get, and it just gets frustrating. You know how to fix the problem. You know what the issue is.
But you can't.
You're not, yeah. I'm like, good grief, just give me the flipping switch, give me the remote control for just a week. I'll get this all straightened out, and then you can have the control back. It's it's like the Air Force's channel surfing.
But it's the same with the school district.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I know how to fix the problem. Just give me
move.
Give me administrative access for like 10 minutes, and I'll fix the problem.
It's just crazy.
And I won't charge. You don't have to pay me the network admin's salary, although it would be nice, making, 65,000. But just give me the rope for a little while.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I can fix your problem.
No kidding. It's just so frustrating. So we kind of end up being the middleman a lot of the time. Get the users calling, why isn't this up, or when is this going to come back up, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I feel your pain. In most cases, we're in the same boat. We can't do a darn thing because we don't have control. The people who do have control don't necessarily know what they're doing. And if they know what they're doing, they're not sharing with us what they're doing.
There's a friend of mine that used to work with me in technology, and his biggest thing was, I can tell you, but I don't want to tell you. And I was like, well, why not? Job security.
Yeah, well,
it was kind of, that was his mentality. Was, I could tell you, or I could show you how to fix it, but then that means that's one less thing that I wouldn't have over you. And that would make me less.
I hate empire building. I hate that.
That would make me just a little less valuable to the department. He's a good friend of mine, though, and I'm not going to say names, but it was funny. Some of the quotes that he would just spit out was like funny. I can't even describe it, but he's a pretty cool guy.
That's funny.
Some of his thinking was
a little off,
a little whack,
a little whack. Okay, so the title of the episode this week is "It's the End of the World as We Know It." Well, we'll be getting to a little bit of this a little bit later on, but just to drop the teaser. Just to drop the hint in there, if you haven't noticed, Korea has been stepping up their nuclear ambitions, and so our government is actually kind of taking it a little bit more seriously than they were before. So we got some things going on. We'll kind of talk about a little bit later. So Samsung had a big announcement with their Galaxy S4 smartphone. And I have to say, as much as I am not tremendously a Samsung fan, they come out with some good devices, but then they also come out with a lot of just junk. They're not innovative, and they even say that. We just borrow from everybody else and try to pack it all in. So their latest kitchen sink endeavor,
Mm-hmm.
the S4, it's pretty thin, 7.9 millimeters thick.
5-inch screen.
Yeah, 5-inch screen. So that seems to be the new norm now, is 5-inch screen.
Yeah.
Not quite sure I'm ready for that. I got small hands. Small hands.
I'm human. I'm not Sasquatch.
That's right. But I'm not one of the little people either.
Oh yeah, the little
little people. But so we've got they've come out with that. It's got 8 cores, but it's basically 4. I was looking at the 8 cores. I'm like, what are they doing with it? They don't even have an OS that uses that. And what's interesting, it's actually 4 and 4. I was looking a little bit more into this. They're like, oh, we've got 8 cores. I'm like, okay, I need to know why and what you're going to do with it. Well, it's actually 2 4-core setups. One set of 4 cores is 1.6 gigahertz, and the other is 1.2 gigahertz, and they can't all operate at the same time. So again, I'm wondering,
what's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah.
So okay, the only thing I could think of, and they'll probably reveal more as these actually start shipping and others get a hold of publicity versions or whatever. They'll probably come along. It'll probably do something like this, where the faster 4 cores may work when you need to run some really, really high end games and stuff like that, and then it'll step down to the other 4, the 1.2 gigahertz cores, to reduce battery usage. Of course, it's got a much larger battery, probably because they need it with all these cores. I mean, I don't even have 8 cores on this computer that we're running this.
I mean, most computers don't have 8 cores.
So it's got a Super AMOLED screen, which is good. 13 megapixel front camera, but they haven't done anything to the actual sensor to beef it up to handle the 13 megapixels. So while it'll probably give you some really good day pictures, there's no stabilization, so the night pictures are going to be crap.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. Although a neat little gimmick, a lot of people have been complaining so far that the lot of stuff that they did with this, especially in the software, is very gimmicky. It's got you can do video both front and back camera at the same time. I'm thinking, okay, where's the practical application for that? I mean, they explain, well, now you can take videos of your friends doing things, and you could be in on the action, too.
Well, I think...
I'm trying to imagine how that would look.
Have you ever seen the...
like a split screen? Or
pretty much like a split screen. Well, it would be, I guess, I could see it happening to where you're doing video editing, but obviously... You won't be able to do it on the phone because it'd be, well,
they might with 8 cores.
Yeah, it's pretty big. Pretty soon it's going to be the size of this desk we have here.
It's a tablet.
But the, I've seen video where the like the GoPro cameras.
Yeah.
Have you seen those?
Yes, and those are really getting. I mean, they've got support now across all the platforms. Windows Phone even now has software to support them.
If you're not familiar with the GoPro cameras, they're real small. They come housed in a case that's damn near indestructible. The thing with these GoPro, they're really big with sports and things like that, because you can mount them to
just about anything,
motorcycles, and they do come out with some awesome videos. But in order to capture this, they're doing they have to have multiple cameras, and then they put it together to make their video or their film, and it's really impressive. So that's the only thing I can see as far as being. You're recording something from the front, and you're recording, I guess, you laughing at your friends or cutting up.
But I guess I'd have to see it in action, because I've not seen any demo videos. I'm trying to imagine if it's recording at the same time. Is it just that there's 2 actual video streams synced, and then when you bring this into post production, you can flick between the 2, or is this like a split screen? thing where one half of the screen is showing what the front camera is showing and the other half is showing you. And I'm like, well, that's got to be kind of stupid. Who wants to see a video of you taking a video?
Exactly.
'Cause I can just imagine it's just going to be a picture, a video of you looking at your
phone.
And you're looking down at the screen and looking up and looking at the screen and looking up, looking at the screen. How is that fun and exciting? How are you in the picture?
The only thing I could see is, like you just mentioned, some type of built-in software or something that comes with the phone that's going to allow you to edit it during post-production.
Right.
I
just think this is going to be gimmicky. They've added also this smart pause and smart stop or something like that, where basically it uses the front-facing camera and the equivalent of facial recognition technology to tell where your eyes are at, and so it won't turn off.
Yeah.
When you're not until you're not looking at it. I'm like, well, okay.
They were saying something that if you look at a particular corner of the screen, it'll flip the page or something over or move. Something like that. I heard that.
Yeah. For a phone, I don't see that as now on a tablet. I could see that kind of useful.
Yeah.
I could see that coming in handy where you have your tablet, iPad or Android or Windows tablet sitting up, propped up, and you're reading like a news paper or whatever, and being able to flip it without even using any motion at all other than playing the Stephen Hawking, because that's how you can see it coming. Yeah. It's all gonna be. You're gonna chat with people just by looking at the screen and blinking. That's where that's going.
Yeah.
And then they borrowed a number of things from other people, namely Nokia. They borrowed the cinemagram feature and the Smart Shoot, where it takes multiple pictures and then you can remove people or objects from the.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah. I've only used, and again, that was gimmicky even on this. I've only used that twice on this. It's cool. It works, but how do people normally take their shots? You are normally setting it up or you are catching on the fly. The only time that something like that comes in handy is if you are in a very, very busy situation like a party, and you would already turn it on with the Nokia phones. They use the lens concept. So when you activate the camera, you can just instantly flip to a lens app.
Oh, okay.
So it can switch to right there as you're taking the pictures. You can just flip it to the Smart Shoot. Okay, without having to bring up an app to do so. Okay, that's cool. Very convenient. I've used the lenses a lot, but for Smart Shoot, you would, in order to really be useful in a party situation, you'd have to go ahead and make that and just start off with that instead of, oh wow, I wish I'd had Smart Shoot on, and to just have that the whole time. So it's doing the multiple pictures as you take a snapshot. And then you can do the cleanup. Most of the time you don't use a camera that way. So it's gimmicky on the Nokia. It's just as gimmicky, I think, on the. I guess, but they just want to show. Oh, we can add it too.
Yeah.
So, but by all accounts, so far, it definitely has raised the bar for everybody, and that's fine. There's been some, in the iPhone camp, like, oh well, Apple needs to step up the tempo, and Microsoft needs to step up the tempo, and Nokia needs to step. I'm like, you know what? That's what this is all about. As much as I'm not a fan of Samsung's tactics and the fact that they just glut the market with phones of plastic garbage all over the place. Anytime somebody comes up with something that truly does step things up, I'm like, yeah, that pushes, it raises all the water table, brings up, lifts up all boats. So I'm like, yeah, push the envelope, make everybody work harder, so the next devices from everybody come out better. So I'm not saying doom and gloom for anybody. I mean, I still like this camera. I should show you pictures later. We were at a party last night, birthday party last night, and it was getting dark, and all we had was just a couple little floodlights, and I was demonstrating to some friends the night picture capability. I mean, you see just a couple of people standing at the opening of a little shed or a little carport that has a boat in it, and you could barely see them, but it looks like they've got a light on them with the way the 920 camera picks it up. I'm like, wow, this is just too cool.
Yeah.
But that's where I think really the focus needs to go to a lot of devices now. They need to really push the display capability, make those faster, and then also the cameras need to just step it up. I just see the time real soon where your regular SLR cameras are just not going to be, because you can do, the only thing really holding them back right now on the camera phones is optical zoom.
Yeah.
That's it. That's really it. You got really good stabilization now with the way that Nokia has done theirs, and actually the HTC 8X does a pretty good job. Not quite as good, but they've instituted a little bit of hardware optimization in it. And I'm sure I'll bet the iPhone 5S. What do you bet? They beef up the camera in it.
You know, I would think that the camera would probably be something they would do.
Because they really didn't do anything with the camera between the 4S and the 5.
The only thing they did was they changed the crystal that's actually on. I think that
was
lens
it itself.
That was it.
Yeah.
You know, they would have to come out with something good. I think their next move might be somewhere in the operating system change.
You think they're going to be dramatic with that?
I think that they're.
I mean, I've been hearing from so many people that they were just definitely iPhone fans, but they're even admitting, they're like, you know what, they haven't really done anything new with the OS.
Yeah.
But where could they go?
I like their thinking as far as, let's keep this thing locked down because we don't have a lot of the issues that some of the other,
like Android, 1 out of 10 apps in the store are malware.
Is malware, you know. So for a reason, their platform is locked down, and that's been Apple's bread and butter forever.
Yep. It has worked. It's worked.
You cannot do a lot of things that you can do with the Windows or anything else, but you know.
But you have a consistency across all the devices.
Right. So that's good for them. But at the same time, it's kind of leaving them behind because you've got new things coming out, and you know the new.
So you think that's where they're going to go?
I think.
Do you think they'll do that with the 5S, or they will wait till the 6?
I think they're going to wait with the 6. I think
and do an iOS 7 that is a complete. Oh, okay.
A whole complete iOS. It's going to be an iOS, but it's going to be different.
Yeah.
I see something really flashy down the road. Just to kind of compete their devices as far as the way they're designed. I think they look pretty cool. I
have to say the S4 looks like the S3, and it still looks bleh. Which looks like, I wish I'd given a friend of mine my Focus, which was a great first Windows phone, but it was basically a rebranded Android phone. And really, if you look at it right next to the Galaxy S3 and the S4, those just look like bigger versions. I mean, they haven't changed anything as far as the hardware. At least HTC, if anybody, dramatically departed from their previous designs. It was HTC. You look at the 8S and the 8X, and they're pretty phones.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I go to Walmart, they've got the 8X sitting in there in that cobalt blue or California blue, whatever they call it. And now, of course, now they got them all under cover. You can't touch them.
Yeah.
But before that, I would pick it up. I was like, man, this feels good. It actually felt nicer than the Lumia 920.
And every time I go pay my bill at AT&T, I always swing by there and just kind of, make sure that I, just look at them.
Yeah.
Because I have I get nauseated every time I go by the Windows phones. But honestly, between the HTC, they're nice. They're nice. They're thin because they're just, I don't know. Anyway, but if I had to choose between the HTC and the Nokia all the way. I just like the way it feels better. It's
solid.
It's solid.
Yeah.
The other one, it's smoother.
Yeah.
It's a little, I don't know, it's a lot thinner.
Very thin.
But I don't know, I just don't like the corners.
Yeah, that's the downside.
They're kind of like pokey.
Yeah.
And with the one like yours, it's, I don't know, it's smoothed off, so
Yeah.
like you can slip it in your pocket easier. I
Yeah.
don't know. It just looks cool.
So it'll be interesting if Apple decides to go dramatic with the hardware design too.
But I think that you're right. I think with the 5S, they may do some camera improvements, maybe change a few things.
NFC, add NFC and wireless charging.
I think the wireless charging is down the road, because I think they even though a lot of people were complaining, a lot of people didn't mind with the that new little charging port.
Yeah. You want them to go back?
No, I don't want
okay.
them to go back. Of course, according to their way of thinking, they had to modify that part to kind of make room for other things for the phone, and that's fine. But I think the wireless charging is coming down. And then that's it. And then with the new release of the new phone, maybe in a year,
Yeah.
they're gonna definitely come up with probably some iOS with a new flash looking.
Wow. That'd be interesting.
Yeah,
That'd be interesting.
I think.
So, switch. Oh, let's see. I'll jump ahead and grab this one. Speaking of Apple, THX is suing Apple for their speakers. I'm like, what? Evidently, in the new slimline iMac and in the iPad and the iPhone, I guess they had licensed some speaker technology from THX, but somehow the way they implemented it on those devices, it was in violation of the licenses. So THX is going. I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody is so flippin' suit happy.
They saw that they have a cash flow of like $36 billion in the bank.
We want a piece of that.
We want some of that,
Yeah, give me some cash. That's what I want. I want some of that money.
If anything, their stock is dwindling. They don't need the publicity.
Who,
They'll
THX?
No, Apple.
I wouldn't say it's dwindling. It's dropped precipitously from where it was, but that's still an insanely great great price.
Oh my God! It's only 800. It's $484.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
It's dwindling, guys.
That's funny.
But anyway, I mean, their stock is questionable.
Mm-hmm.
On the stock exchange, and they figure, you know what? Let's just go and throw them.
I think it's just more of a course correction. It's kind of like when you see the stocks going. The overall going really, really high, and then suddenly it drops back like 2 or 3% or something like that. That's just basically, okay, we kind of we got a momentum going. Now we got to settle into some reality here.
The rule of thumb, guys, is what goes up must always come down and will come down. But as long as it doesn't hit the ground,
yeah,
it's still
or
going
if
good.
it hits hard enough, it bounces.
Exactly, and it already hit the ground once because it did.
That's true. That's true.
And when it bounced, Steve Jobs jumped on it, and he just kept rolling with it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's true. That's true. So we got some exciting stuff going on, and just everybody is suing everybody nowadays. I've been watching the bit with that pseudo company in Texas that has been suing everybody over podcasting. And
you haven't got a letter yet, have
no,
you?
haven't gotten a letter yet. But I think I'm not. We're too small a fish right now in the pond. But they've been expanding their nets and going after people, and there's a lot of pushback now. It's starting to build up, saying, "Okay, this is ridiculous." Unfortunately, where they keep filing these, it happens to be in a court that is the most well-known. Oh wow, we dropped 178 frames. Is the most easy to get in these kind of lawsuits. So it's kind of like if somebody wants to pass something, pass some sort of a liberal agenda, they go to the 9th Federal Circuit Court and they can get it passed in there. So it's like, it's just crazy. Come on. You license them to use your stuff. Are you getting a little bit technical on it to go after them? I mean, it said that the report I read showed that Apple had licensed the technology. So they're probably playing over a technicality and saying, we want some cash off of that.
Everybody wants cash.
I know. This economy. So Microsoft Research has come up with something kind of interesting, and they've been testing it out. They've got this method of shopping, which combines the Kinect with Bluetooth.
Mm-hmm.
So here's how this works. It's pretty cool. when a customer goes into the store, their phone sends a unique ID to the cashier.
Okay.
Okay. So now you've made your connection. You walk in the store. Okay, I am now a presence. I am now a customer here. And then when you're, and it sends that via Bluetooth, so that when you're ready to buy something, then you go forward to the cashier, and then the Connect sensor picks you up and uses facial recognition to further identify you. So basically, your proximity with Bluetooth, and then the Connect says, okay, let me tie all these together and see if this is you. Then the cashier is presented with 4 possible face matches, and then they have to pick the correct one. And then at that point, the items that you have are transacted in the system. I'm assuming they would use something like RFID or something like that with the goods that you're carrying. And then you get an email immediately with a 10-second video of the actual purchase, in case you need to dispute it later, and you walk out of the store. So basically, it's kind of like it even bests NFC, where you would have to touch your device to something to do the transaction. You just simply have to walk up and give them a look. It's like, yeah, and then you walk out, and then you walk out of the store. So for people like, what's her face from Edward Scissorhands and Alien Resurrection, who was known
Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder. It's probably perfect for her.
You know, where does it end? You know, that my question is, first of all,
you never have to take your wallet out.
Right, but then if everybody starts pushing this technology,
right.
I have a picture of everybody in the United States. I have a photo. I have a copy of your photo.
Well, you don't think that actually happens now?
Exactly, but this to me seems like a legitimate way to do it.
A legitimate way, as opposed to all the illegitimate ways.
Well, you work for the
think
government.
about it. I mean, I believe me, nobody trusts the government less than someone who works for the government. But I can see the convenience of how many times have you been in either shopping yourself or more so with your wife, and they're waiting in line with a lot of other people who are trying to, well, then they have to take it off and scan the little ticket and then put it in the bag, and sometimes they're talking to their friends and they're taking forever to. If I could simply walk up, be recognized, acknowledge the transaction, it automatically reads the items that I have, gives me a receipt emailed with a picture verifying it.
Everything you have.
I don't have to stand in line per se. I just have to stand in line long enough for it to take the transaction, and I'm gone.
I can see that being really cool.
I can see the potential abuses, but
yeah, exactly. All I got to do is take your phone, but I guess that's where the facial recognition would come in, because let's just say if I take your phone, I go up and I'm gonna check out, and they're going to be like, wait a minute, this does not look like the dude that the phone belongs to.
Now, obviously, as it said in here, in the report, it does require the cashier to choose from the 4 faces of which the correct one.
Right.
So I would assume that as you get into the field of view of the Connect camera, you may not be the only person standing there waiting to get a transaction. So it has to go, it brings up 4 in the field of view, and the cashier has to acknowledge you, and boom.
Yeah. Well, like my son, for his Xbox with his Connect, he was playing a game, and I saw him actually, looking at it, and he was choosing his avatar,
right.
Or, choosing the options
right.
for the player.
Right.
And to switch between the screens, he was just going like, no.
Yeah.
And then he was like, he would go down and he would select his arm down and stuff.
Nice.
And then during the whole thing, he was running from the back of the room to the front, and the little man would run, and then he would start throwing punches, and it was punching, so he was shadow boxing pretty much the entire game. And then at the end, I walk into his room, and it's extremely hot, and he's drenched, and he's like, Dad, I'm tired. I'm like, good.
Yeah, get some exercise.
Get some exercise
from a video game.
From a video game.
Now, it would be impressive if the avatar was sweating too.
I know. The avatar was like, You know, I want the game that's gonna like take a photo of you and actually like imprint your whole image on the game. You know, the actual.
Oh,
character.
you got to know that's coming. If they do that with movies now, it is just a matter of time.
That would be so cool because that would put you in there, and yeah, I think that would be pretty.
I've shown you the picture of my avatar for Second Life, haven't I?
No.
I have to bring that up. It's pretty cool. Because I found a piece of software that lets you. Let's find the ones of me. There we go, me. Let's see if I switch the camera a second. This, for those of you who are not familiar with this social game, I guess you can call it, Second Life.
Farm Bill.
Yeah, well, it lets you be like Facebook, but you have an avatar that you move around. You can dress them up and everything. And I actually got, I found out about it through Patty. Because Patty was at the time pushing their virtual diving and training. Of course, you don't get certified through it. But the cool thing was you could join Second Life and you could create your avatar. You could get scuba gear and everything, which I'm outfitted for. I've got all that. And you can go out to these different locations that they and other people have created worlds. It's like Sim City or Sim Life or whatever.
Yeah.
But you're interacting in a social environment. And you go diving and you see whale sharks and dolphin and fish and coral. It's pretty cool. But you can create your avatar, and there's people who just do, seriously, there's crazy stuff they do with this. But I created, see if I can show this in the camera. That is my avatar in Second Life. And I found software that will let you take your picture from the front and the sides, and then you can superimpose it on your physical avatar in the game. And so that is my picture superimposed, and it creates a nice little 3D graphic. So it's pretty wild. Yeah, kind of neat stuff that you can do with technology. So I think it's just a matter of time before they could do something like that with the Kinect. You know, the newer Kinects that are coming out are much more high resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Sensing motion, just facial twitches and blinking. I mean, everything. They can sense all of that, much more fine-tuned.
Yep.
So I figured that's going to be in the next, the Xbox 720 or whatever they end up calling it, Xbox.next, or I've heard a number of different things. But Microsoft, anyway, Microsoft has tested this way of purchasing. They've done 705 purchases with 274 customers, 0 complaints.
Wow.
2 locations. I'm like, wow, that's kind of interesting.
What, at a Costco?
I don't know. I need to look more into that, see what kind of transactions those were. I would love to see that in action. I want to see a video of how that process works. Follow a person coming into the store.
Grabbing items.
Now, obviously, if you don't have your phone with you or you don't have this unique ID that you're transmitting, then obviously you wouldn't be accidentally billed for something. You would simply purchase things the normal way. But I could see this really speeding up purchasing.
All right, let me ask you: would you use this technology?
Yes, I would, because I hate to stand in line.
Special orders.
Well, yeah, exactly. Special orders. See, that creates a dilemma there. When you go to a clothing store or something where you get to purchase off the rack, you go to Walmart, purchase off the rack, yes, that would work perfectly. I could see it coming very soon where you could go to a Walmart and you just bag it yourself, and as you go through, as a matter of fact, I saw a demo of something, I think it may have been from the Mobile World Congress, these shopping carts that have a device you pick up, it get registered with you, it links with your ID for the time that you're shopping, you stick it on the cart. As you're going around the store, as you're buying stuff, it's reading it and putting it in there, and you have your bags in there. And so you bag as you roll around, and it's already giving you your total and everything, your subtotal as
Wow.
you go. And then all you have to do is I guess you swipe your card or whatever. It could be NFC. Just tap it. Okay, it's paid, and then you put the card away in the little mobile tablet, and take your
goods.
and go. Never have to touch a.
See, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now that sounds cool because you're bagging your stuff as you go,
Yeah.
and then you just pay and on your way.
Yep. But I don't see that working very well in like a McDonald's.
Special orders.
Because they have to prepare and give you
Right.
something.
Robert loves special orders, guys.
They upset
of you,
me.
Those of you that are out there, you see Robert in his Mustang behind you. Go ahead and just customize your burgers.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm be the one most likely to throw something at your back window. Special orders do upset me. I'm telling you right now. So we may see, probably not in Del Rio in our lifetime, but you go to
No
San
kidding.
Antonio, some of these megalopolises,
You know,
you may see some new ways to purchase.
one of the things that I failed to mention is we took the kids to the zoo, San Antonio. We just got back yesterday.
Did you miss the elephant? The poor elephant died.
Yeah, I know.
Well, one of them.
One of them died.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. But the one thing I loved about being in San Antonio is the LTE service that my phone gets.
Absolutely.
Oh gosh, you're talking about flying.
Oh my gosh.
Man, just like that.
It is fast.
It's quick.
Love LTE, and again, we probably won't be seeing that in Del Rio for a long time.
Yeah, I mean we don't even have true 4G here for God's sake.
No, it's that HSPA plus whatever it is.
Plus HTCS.
So yes, just the alarm has been sounded. Chiana, the alarm dog.
Somebody's walking outside.
Must be. Every time somebody goes by. Or I tell you what was crazy. We had some kids. I think they got to where they were doing it on purpose, riding their bikes up and down the alleyway. And of course, the three dogs just would run the fence. I mean, I think they wore themselves out doing that. So, but I was like, golly, kids, come on. You're agitating the dogs. Just move on.
Just say yes and we'll move along.
Just say I got a dog on my tail and move on.
So.
Well, we're waiting on pins and needles to see what Colorado Governor Hickenlooper does this week, because the strangling gun control laws did pass both the House and the Senate. So now they're all waiting for his signature. And of course, Magpul has threatened consistently, we're gone if you don't veto this. So I'm like, come on down to Texas. We need the ammo down here.
Yep.
And I saw something on Fox News where Colt closed their shops to let their employees go protest.
Wow.
I'm like, this is getting serious.
Yeah.
These companies are getting serious. There's like 132 companies that have already signed up on this. We will not sell to states, municipalities, agencies, whatever, that have these strict gun laws. And this is getting serious. And with Korea getting threatening, you know what? You don't know what could happen.
Mm-hmm. Red Dawn.
That's what I'm saying. People are like, oh, well, there's no threat. I'm like, you know what? They didn't think Japan was a threat. They didn't think Hitler was a threat. They never think these people are a threat until they come over and do something stupid. The problem is, and this actually works for diving too, you can't assume that somebody is going to behave the same way you would. As a country, there are no nations quite like the United States, although we're trying to be more like Europe. But they think differently. And the further away you get from the Western mentality, the more wildly different the thought processes are. That's why something like 9/11, really nobody believed it would happen. till it did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they wouldn't be crazy enough to.
Oh no.
Iran wouldn't be crazy enough to launch. Korea wouldn't be crazy enough to launch. They would be crazy enough to
They've
launch.
already threatened that they want to nuke us. I mean, you got to take that real. I mean, considering everything that's happened.
Yes, they've been doing, and they're doing more tests. You know, which means probably, I think diving in Korea and Japan area, I think is probably going to start taking a nosedive as all this escalates. Because who wants to be glowing when you when you're diving? You know.
Yeah, the situation over there is getting pretty serious. My brother-in-law, who's in the Navy, that I told you was stationed.
That's right.
Here in San Antonio, he's being deployed to Japan. So, of course, we don't know the reason behind it. He can't tell us.
Right.
But for a reason, he's going.
And we have bases in South Korea.
Yeah. So
I've been there.
Should be pretty interesting. I think, I don't know, they just got to start taking these people a lot more serious. If we haven't learned our lesson by now, then you know what? Then you have every reason to invade.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, I mean, come on. Texas, I haven't heard anything about Texas as far as the gun laws are concerned.
Oh, right now there is no, I mean, there's always going to be some nut jobs out there that are trying to put some sort of gun control, but there's nothing that has any kind of leg on it.
Nothing here.
I think it's more likely that we would attract, as a matter of fact, probably our biggest competition to attracting some of these businesses that are saying, you know what, you don't want to sell in your state? Fine, we're moving. I think our biggest competition is Oklahoma. The difference between us and Oklahoma, they had no blue districts. We're living in one of the blue districts here. Which, doggone it, we're going to change that. I want the Second Amendment without any doubt supported. It's crazy. So anyway, Colt, Magpul, all of you, come on down to Texas. We'll be happy to have you here.
We got plenty of room.
We do. We've got plenty of great real estate.
Yep. One of the biggest states in the United States.
Yep. Sarah Palin at the CPAC.
Yeah, I saw you posting Sarah Palin
I just love watching her speak because, well, she's attractive, but she's just very plain language and she knows how to throw the barbs. she made some good shots. I was like, I was like every time, almost every paragraph she would say something, I was like, ooh, that's got to leave a mark. when she whipped out she got to a pause and then she reached down almost as uncomfortably as, and it was intentional, but almost as uncomfortably as Marco Rubio did on the State of the Union response. And then she pulls up a big gulp full of soda and she takes a big old sip out of that. I was like, she got two jokes with one without saying a word. She hit two jokes at the same time. I was like, that's brilliant.
I caught some of the video of her speech on the USA Today app that I have on my phone.
Yeah.
And it was pretty interesting. I didn't see the part where she drank the glass, the drink, but I did.
It was great.
There was a picture of it where she was holding it up. But I did see where she made, the comments about the background checks and just, the whole reality TV in Washington and all that stuff, which was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know what to say anymore. I'm kind of like so tired. I'm tired of the situation as money, I'm sure as a lot of Americans are, with the way the economy is going, with the way fuel prices are going.
Oh my gosh.
Just everything. Granted, I mean, we're not paying as much as other places, here in Texas, but
we also remember when it was under $2.
Yeah, I remember unleaded at, or should I say regular at 79 cents.
Yep, I do too.
Those were the days. That was down the street at,
It cost me $50 to fill my tank now. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm not giving up my 8 cylinders. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. And in fact, I'm driving a car right now. I really need a truck. I'm finding out the hard way that you just need something with a little more room in it. Having a car is great when you travel, but
when you're trying to haul anything,
it's tough. It's tough. I mean, you have your SUV that the seats can go down.
Love it.
But don't have that. So But anyway, I'm sorry. I'm on my. I'm ranting.
No, you're not.
I'm just tired. I'm just tired with the way the economy's going, and everybody's pointing fingers at everybody else. You know what? Just fix the problem. Find a solution. Let's all meet in the middle and compromise, and let's just get it done. And let's move on.
Just stop taxing me.
Yes, I know. You know, the more taxes you give me is the less money I can spend.
That's right.
You know, I mean,
I can't keep the economy going. I would love. Matter of fact, I got into a conversation with the one of the girls that runs the coffee shop there at the
base?
on the base gym, and she was very apologetic that they just had to raise their prices. It was a pretty hefty increase, but you know she's very apologetic, and I said, "Hey, listen, I don't apologize for having to do what you need to do to stay in business."
Right.
I said, "You have a good product, you have a good service." You guys are very friendly. I don't come in here and feel like I'm a bother to you. You know, you go into some place and they're like, "Yeah, what do you want?" I mean,
you know, it's funny you mention that. I don't mind paying a little extra. You know, let's face it, a lot of stuff went up a few cents, a little bit, a buck here, okay.
Right.
You know, there's a business that I used to eat at all the time here in Del Rio, and it's Mammoth Chicken.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Those of you that are probably watching, like you Hispanics out there watching, you know what I'm talking about. Well, the chicken is probably the greasiest, nastiest chicken, but it tastes good. I used to be able to buy a half ordered chicken, which is the 4 pieces of chicken and the fries,
right,
and a little pack of jalapeno and all that stuff. It used to be $4, $4. Well, since I guess he didn't keep up with the old building. And I'm going to complain about this. The old building downtown caught on fire. It had an electrical fire, and he had to shut it down. Well,
wait a minute. What, the one across from the Paul Polk Theater?
Yeah, I
didn't know that one.
No, that's been closed for over a year now, Rob. It caught on fire.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So,
that could have taken out HEB.
Yeah, I know. It could have taken out everything.
Wow.
You know, those grease fires, you know, they spread.
Yeah.
Well, he jacked up his prices on his chicken. A half order chicken now is $8. So he doubled his price. You know, it went from 4 to 8.
Wow.
And a whole box of chicken, you know, it was $8, so now it's $14.
Now, if you go to HEB or Walmart and buy an actual chicken, how much does that cost?
Like $4 for the whole chicken. But, you know, what I'm saying is I don't mind paying a little extra, but that to me is ridiculous. I mean, come on, Judge. I know. Come on, Judge. You know,
wow.
Just, it's good chicken. I'm not going to deny that.
Right.
But it's not $8 good.
Wow. But yeah, so I told her, I said, don't apologize for increasing your prices. It keeps you in business. I think you're worth it. I said, ultimately, my philosophy when it comes, and this is true whether you're buying scuba gear or food or a house, a product or service is worth no more than what you're willing to pay for it, and no less than what someone's willing to sell it for. Mm-hmm. When those $2 amounts meet, you've got a transaction. If you go to buy chicken and you decide that it's good, but it ain't $8 good, then you've reached the limit of what you're willing to pay for something. The value doesn't meet that threshold for you.
Right.
And their costs are so high that they can't get the price down to what the customers are willing to buy it for.
You know, I haven't seen him, or should I say this establishment. I can understand, okay, I'm fixing the other one. I need to, you know, offset some of the costs to get the other building, you know, back up on its feet.
Yep.
Or you know what, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to go ahead and remodel this one. The main one that everybody's going to now. I'm hiring new employees. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm doing something different. But you go there, and it looks exactly as it's been probably for the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed, but his prices did go up. Yeah. And I don't mind paying, but come on. You know, that if he had gone up $2, okay, you know, but you know, double his price, that's crazy.
Yeah, now everything, all prices are going up. You know, fuel prices alone are going up and driving the cost of other things to go up.
Right.
So you know that just by virtue of that, you're going to see some prices increase. Outside of that, you should be applying principles that I use in my job, Lean Six Sigma, to try and look at, okay, what is my obstacle from getting this price down to what the customers are willing to pay?
Right.
What am I paying too much for? What am I doing that's wasteful, that I'm throwing money out, basically throwing money out the window?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is competition out there.
Right.
And people are going to go to places that, you know what, they may settle for a little bit less of, you know, if they like the chicken at Mema's and they find chicken at another place that's not quite as good, but the price difference is so dramatic.
Yeah.
You know, it's like buying scuba gear.
Yep.
You can go to any number of dive shops, and you know, most of the time you're going to find that their prices are pretty darn high.
Yeah.
And unless they're able to get some sort of a package deal with a service or something that you find valuable, that's value added to you, you know, unless you're just totally ignorant, you're not going to buy typically, except for a onesies or twosies kind of thing off the rack at a dive shop.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to go online where your
Right.
prices are dramatically dropped. And they've found efficiencies by economy of scale or whatever to make sure that you can get the same quality of product, you know, Aqualung or Oceanic or Scuba Pro or whatever. You can get that online. It's the same quality that you would buy in the store
Mhm.
at a dramatically lower price.
You know, speaking of which, you know, I made the comment that I was at the lake with my son
Right,
on Monday.
Right.
And we went to the cliffs, and I was
It was depressing, isn't it? Look at how
devastated.
low the lake
You
is.
know, there's still some deep parts in certain, you know, by the cliffs
You
area.
just need a boat.
It's just very low.
Yeah.
And you know, and I actually posted a comment on Facebook, you know, don't fear, you know, I ride a mountain bike. Pretty soon I'll be riding the cliffs, not diving them.
Right.
Well, we went to a bike shop, and I was looking for some pedals, you know, some mountain bike pedals. And I was blown away, you know. They're retailing, that's what they go for. You know, they go between $50 to $100.
Just for pedals.
Right.
Yeah.
To about $120 just for a good set of platform pedals. Not to say alone the clipless pedals. And if you know what I'm riding, they're
Yeah.
different. But anyway, and that's reasonable. But the ones that I want, they retail for about $90. You can go online. And I saw them, and I was like, wow, this is cool. Oh, yeah, we got those. You know, you want them? I'll go ahead and I'll wrap them for you. I'm like, no, I'm just looking at them. $90. Got online, $65.
Oh, my gosh.
You know, the same pedal.
50% markup.
You know, the same pedals. And that's like Rob was saying, you know, and you can go look at scuba gear at a shop, but you're not going to get the same deals if you were to go online, for example. It's just
Exactly. Your best shot, if you're going to go into a shop to buy something, your best deal there is going to be when they're clearancing out for the next season, the next year's stuff. Then you can get some pretty good discounts on those. But even then, you could probably get even better discount on the same thing online.
You know, I'm one of these guys that, you know, I need to see it, you know, hold it in my hand.
That's
you
what
know,
dive shops are good
and you can go look at it, and like you said, I agree with that 150%. You know, if you're gonna go and buy maybe just the one little knick-knack here or something there at the dive shop or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, you know, because I do believe in supporting businesses.
Yeah.
I don't mind throwing a little bit of my cash at them, but
Right.
you know, just I'm not gonna give them my bank account. You know.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
exactly. That's not the place you want to walk in with this new Microsoft Research Wave.
Oh,
I don't
no.
want to even look at the cashier.
You're gonna walk in with a face mask on.
Exactly. It's like, turn off the darn phone. Turn off the darn phone.
Every time
Great.
you touch something.
It's like, nope, just kidding. Just kidding. You'd be walking by every time you walk by the Connect, you'd be like,
no. Oh, that's hilarious.
So anyway, bringing it back around to Korea, you know, I was like, okay, Korea definitely is going to be presenting some challenges, which is interesting because we've also been worried about Iran. But Tara and I have been to Korea when we were on tour with the Air Force Tops of Blue. Of course, we got to do the whole round the world thing. So we we did some shows in South Korea and the Philippines and Japan. So we've been into that area, and it's beautiful. But I've never obviously been diving in that hemisphere. So I was like, okay, well, so if diving, I've always heard people talk about how great diving is in Japan, but not so much about Korea. So I was kind of doing a little bit of research to see, well, what would you be missing out on if you
couldn't go
there? And as it turns out, we'll just throw the map up here so we can show folks what we're talking about. There you got North and South Korea. There, what's interesting is looking at it from satellite at night. You see,
it's lit up.
South Korea is lit up like metropolitan area, and you can literally see the line between North and South Korea. It's almost completely dark in North Korea. Shows you how oppressive that country is. But anyway, so that whole area has got actually quite a bit of great diving, but the temperatures would typically be cooler. But you can see Japan there off to the side. We've been all along there. It's Tokyo, etc. Beautiful island, but you can see where with North Korea threatening to every time they do these tests, Japan's got to be going, oh crud, here we go again, because they run the risk of violating airspace and all that stuff, because it's literally just a hop, skip, and a jump there to Japan, but it doesn't take much to actually make it all the way across. As a matter of fact, let me bring this up, screen region here. You see in this picture with the different missiles, North Korea claims that their reach is, they already can go from Korea, they can actually reach to Alaska now. And I saw something on the news this week where supposedly one of them could actually get to our west coast. And so now we're deploying some more of these anti-missile missiles.
Anti-missile missiles?
Yeah, along the west coast. I'm like, oh, great.
Here we
So
go.
it's getting serious. So I'm like, okay, so now they have a range that they could take out. They could, of course, take out Japan. They could hit Hawaii and Guam, which means that would mess up diving there.
Yep.
I mean, they're potentially messing up some really great diving. But I thought, okay, well, let's take a look at what diving in the in the vicinity of Korea. And I guess there's a few places that people like to dive. The east coast of South Korea, Jeju or Jeju, not sure how you pronounce it, Jeju Island, and Uliang-do province or island. I was like, okay, well,
that's Urindu.
You're a sad individual. So this is just a little bit of I guess the most popular of the areas is the Jeju Island. And it looks pretty cool, actually. This is one of the shots of a bunch of divers.
They're jumping off a cliff.
Jumping off a little cliff. I mean, this is a pretty cool area. I mean, this would be kind of like diving in like Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park. The diving excursion, Jurassic Park. You get to see all the dinosaurs that were underwater. Plesiosaurs. And we got Loch Ness Monster down here.
The Loch Ness.
And let's see. Here's another view of the island from above a little lake on the top of the volcano. I'm like, this is pretty.
That's neat.
I'm like, wow, that'd be pretty cool. Do a little rappelling action there or climb up. That would be a serious altitude dive, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I wonder what that's like. I wonder, of course, it's probably got like a sulfur spring in it.
Yeah.
Probably be dangerous. Or it could be like the most pristine, clear lake you ever saw.
Yeah.
But just a little shot of underwater here. I mean, so it's basically, this kind of coral, a lot of wall diving as far as I could tell from different descriptions. But, beautiful clear water, like diving in Cozumel or other places.
I'm sure it's beautiful. I mean, politics aside, I mean, it's a beautiful area,
Yeah.
beautiful country. I mean, they do have great culture and everything else. I can only imagine what the diving is like.
Yeah. Well, it's cheap products to buy there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Inexpensive.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, actually, some of them are cheap, too. To be perfectly honest, I have to admit, when we were doing our shows there with Air Force Tops and Blue, we did a lot of shopping there. One of the guys, one of the guitarist on our tour, he ended up getting custom made a leather tuxedo, tails. They looked awesome. I was like, man, I am so jealous. And of course, we had our tour jackets. I don't know if they still do that with Tops of Blue. I need to ask them because we've got the 60th anniversary reunion coming up in July. But at least up until the 90s, each tour would design their jacket.
Mm.
And then we would submit that design when we got to Korea. And then they would make them all. And then they would ship them to us. And so by the time we got to the end of the tour, we'd have this huge banquet, big party, and we'd get our Tops Blue tour rings and our jackets, which was awesome. Yeah. So you
cool.
get stuff inexpensively made there.
Yeah.
And of course, there's all sorts of other adults type stuff that goes on there too.
Oh
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah. Not that I took advantage of any of that. Some of my guys did. Yeah.
Supply and demand, people.
Yeah,
Supply and demand.
Yep.
If there's demand for anything, they will supply.
That is sad but
You
true.
know.
Sad but true. So anyway, so probably if you're looking at doing any kind of diving in Korea, Philippines, Japan area, you may want to think about that again. Maybe check to see if you can get reroutes on your tickets, because who knows what's going to happen. If they decide to fire something off, we might just rely on our anti-missile missiles and knock those out, or we may decide to go out there and take them out.
Or if you already have a trip planned for that area, I suggest you make sure you get it done ASAP.
Yeah.
Before the situation gets too hot, and then they stop allowing
flights
over there in that area because the region will become unstable.
Could happen. So all the more reason to promote diving in your local area.
Yeah.
While
there's still water.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Man, this weekend is supposed to be. I mean, it was gorgeous today. I would love to be able to pull off a dive.
Supposed to be in the 90s all week, or something
I would
like that.
not mind pulling off a dive tomorrow. Man, that would be awesome. So let's hit. We're about 13 minutes after the hour. It sounds like and with 13 minutes after the hour. Now let's head to our news and traffic station
with Robert Flamingo.
That's right.
Rob, the traffic on Interstate Veterans Boulevard is going pretty good. It's flowing with no traffic and no traffic issues. We do have a pileup on Bedell Avenue. Yes, we have their reports are still coming in. Still nothing. We have a pileup on Bedell.
The biggest pileup we've ever had is 2 vehicles, I think.
Yeah, pileup.
Although, on a serious note, we did have a motorcycle fatality this week. Sad to say, unfortunately. Young man who was awaiting pilot training evidently lost control of his motorcycle late at night and was a fatality. I was talking to somebody about that today, and I said, you know what, I got a kitchen pass to get a motorcycle. I've always wanted to get a Harley, and I will have one. Always wanted a Harley, but one of the things that I am a stickler for is safety when it comes to that. And I absolutely, this just reinforced, I don't want to ride a motorcycle at night or in inclement weather.
Yeah.
It's just too many hazards with too many people who don't pay attention to you. And even though this started out as a fatality based on looks like speed and not controlling a turn was the issue, driving at night just makes it that much worse. And if you make a mistake with a two-wheeled vehicle, it's much less forgiving than if you make a mistake with a four-wheeled vehicle. So just let that be a bit lesson to you. Be safe with any endeavors you have, whether it's driving, riding, scuba diving, skydiving. Of course, if something fails when you're skydiving, there's pretty much no saving.
That's it. You're going to bounce.
You're going to bounce.
You're going to bounce.
That's sad.
You know, and I'm not making fun of people who've actually lost their lives doing it, but that's actually the phrase or the terminology that dive instructors will use, that you will bounce. But going back to what you said about a motorcycle, I've wanted one for a while. Of course, I do not have a kitchen pass for one. So in getting one, I'm going to break every rule in the house. But I have a friend who I used to work with in technology who bought a Yamaha R6.
Oh, yeah?
And he rode it, never been on a motorcycle ever in his life. He wanted a motorcycle. He finally got it. But he got almost one of the fastest production bikes, and it's a crotch rocket,
why?
in the market. Well,
why?
He was barely learning how to ride, and he laid it down just outside of his house. He spun out on some gravel, and it kind of just tilted. He didn't get hurt. He just picked the bike up and kind of, shook it off. And
they're light enough you can do that.
Right, and he just drove it back home and never got on it again. Well,
really?
At the time, him and his girlfriend, he was living with her, and the bike was at the house. Well, from time to time, they would get into fights, and she would kick him out. So, he would tell me, hey, can you do me a favor? Can I store the bike at your house?
Right.
Because at the time, his mom did not know that he had a motorcycle.
Oh, no.
She wouldn't approve of it. Uh-oh, guest appearance.
Guest appearance by Chiana. Yes.
And so anyway, he would call me up and say, hey, can you do me a favor, Bob? Can you come with me? I need to move the bike. Not a problem. I've been riding for a long time, so went over there, and he stored it at my house in my garage for about 3 weeks. And he finally said, yeah, man, if you want to ride it, take it out, get the juices going on it.
Right, so then atrophy.
So leave it to me to take it out one afternoon. Just to give you a little thing, I was on the road going towards Eagle Pass. What is it, Bedell or Gibbs? Bedell.
Yeah.
Bedell going towards Eagle Pass Hill.
Yeah.
Okay, which is Fermin Calderon.
Right.
Okay. Well, I was on Fermin Calderon and Garza Street.
Yeah.
The intersection where the light's at. I floored it right there at the light. Was going up Eagle Pass Hill, and I still had, I think I was on 4th gear, and I was already hitting 100 miles an hour. And the thing was purring. It was like just egging me. It was just egging me like, go faster. Go faster.
I just can't.
And I mean, it went just like that. I mean, it was so fast. So, took it back down, went by the cemetery, and drove that baby back home. I was blown away. So, about 4 days later, it was kind of misty out, and I said, well, let me take the bike out. I almost took a nasty spill. Like you said, don't ride in rain.
Right.
Because what happens is the oils from the street, from the vehicle start coming up.
Yep.
The roads get very slick.
Right.
So that thing was like dancing all over the place for me. Those guys that ride bikes, I take my hat off to you, but you guys, dangerous.
But don't take the helmet off.
Yeah, I tell you. But yeah, that thing was like super
See, that's
fast.
why I want a Harley. The difference between Harley and Indian and some of those compared to your ninja bikes, those crotch rockets is, well, there's weight, but it's in the style of riding. If you notice, they really do mimic horse riding.
Mm-hmm.
You've got English saddle and you've got Western saddle. English saddle is all upright or leaning forward, whereas Western saddle is leaning back. So if you look at a Harley or other typically American made bikes, they are Western saddle. They're the laid back style, whereas your crotch rockets are typically European styles, the leaning forward.
Yeah.
And so I'm definitely Western saddle. I'm not about the speed. I'm about the luxury and the ride, you know.
Well, you know, like I said, it was kind of like I wanted to see.
Yeah.
You know, again, you know, I just got to put my hands on it. But what was that?
That was Gianna. She really likes it when I'm scratching her neck like this. You are so lots of fun with these.
Yeah. Anyway, she likes it.
She does.
So, but no, if I would buy a bike, I would definitely get myself an upright,
Right.
you know, street bike. The crotch rockets are good, but they're extremely dangerous. Yeah.
They're just an invitation to hurt yourself. Okay. Let's hit our administrivia before we lose total control here. So hopefully we will not see the end of the world, but who knows? All it would take is one errant nuclear weapons, nuclear vessels.
Nuclear vessels.
So let's see what we got here. All right, next Dive Club meeting, 21st of March at Rudy's Restaurant at 7 p.m. We'd love to see you there. See, even Gianna would love to see you there. Down you go, buddy. Okay, and our Balmoral State Park dive trips scheduled are May 17th through 19th, June 14th through 16th, July 19th through the 21st, and August 16th through the 18th. And we do have some basic open water classes scheduled 26th through the 23rd of May, 27th through the 30th of June, 25th through the 28th of July, 22nd through the 25th of August, and 26th through the 29th of September. And already have a potentially sizable group looking at the May class, as a matter of fact. So get yourself all geared up for that. You can always visit us, find out more information at delriodiveclub.com, or visit us at Facebook/Del Rio Dive Club. You can send us instant messages through Skype at 2guyswhodive, all one word, or send us an email at tgwd@outlook.com. And, of course, if you want to converse, exchange electronic information with Scuba Bob, you can follow him on Twitter at rsgarza435. Don't break the microphone.
It's hitting the mic. I didn't see it. My peripheral
it was right
vision.
there in front of your face. Or you can send him an email, rsgarza821@yahoo.com. And, of course,
Please.
yes, please. He'd love to hear from you. And you can follow me on Twitter at RobertCFP, or send me an email at robert.wade@setifox.net. Yes, thank you. Peace out. Well, so, do you have anything going on next weekend? Are you done with your little event that you...
No.
Oh, they're still working up on that.
2 weeks away.
Oh, wow. So
For the day.
For the day.
Yeah.
So are you going to be out next weekend, or...
No,
right.
I will be out...
The weekend after?
I will be out on the 13th.
The 13th.
Yeah, Saturday the 13th, folks. I will not be here. Yeah.
Cue the sad trombones.
I got a religious thing I need to do. Got an event.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I will be here.
Nice. Awesome. All right, so that's pretty much...
Wait a minute. I almost forgot something, too.
Late breaking news. This is just breaking in.
Let me go back to today.
Del Rio News Alert.
On the 30th, for those of you, this month.
Oh, okay.
Saturday, I will be getting confirmed. I will be making my confirmation.
Nice.
It's just before Easter. You know, the Catholic, this is the way they do everything. It's they do it just before Lent. This is the Lenten season,
Right.
So they're doing it
just before
Easter. Yeah, and so I might be here. I might not be here. I don't know because I still haven't gotten the schedule. We're supposed to meet on Tuesday to find out what the situation is. But I know for sure on the 13th I will not be here. So yeah, just
text me.
Text me. And I will text you.
Okay.
But that cool. Day, supposedly they told me that we're supposed to meet at 8 and be planning on staying until about 3 or 4 in the morning. Because it's a very lengthy process. They got something like 57 or 58 oh gosh, it's slipping my mind. People that are making their communion and confirmation, that goes from the little kids all the way up to adults.
Yeah.
I'm one of the adults. So
but just barely.
But just just in my adult class of the classes I'm taking, there's probably about 45. Wow. And we're going to be doing this, so not to mention with the kids. So they're expecting something like 80-something.
Wow.
So it's going to be lengthy.
Goodness gracious.
So I will let you know.
Yeah, please do.
First thing on Tuesday to give you the heads up.
And you said that would happen on the 30th?
On the 30th, the Saturday, just before Easter.
Yes. So you'd be doing that starting at 8 p.m.
Saturday.
Okay. So then you would miss the podcast if you're starting.
But I don't know if it's going to start at 8 or if it's going to start at 9. So if it starts at 9, I can afford to be just a little late. Just show up because I know it's going to take a while.
Right. So if they're going till 3 in the morning.
They're planning. The person who's going to stand with me to kind of like my sponsor.
Yeah.
He's done this before, and he did say, be ready for a long evening. Because you're talking about people that are also getting baptized, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they're going to have the
pool.
pool.
In one fell swoop. They'll have the pool.
Because they're going to have a pool there, and I'm kind of curious to see that. Cause
they're not going to do it at the river?
No, they're going to do it there in the church.
See, that would be so cool to do that at Simplicity Creek.
Just dip them in the water. Yeah. But they're going to do it on Saturday, and they're going to have a pool there, and supposedly it's like...
Is that because you're going to have so many people?
Yes.
Because I assume you have an actual baptismal.
Yes. It's
at the church, but when you're talking this number of people...
you have adults...
Get the cattle cars!
And supposedly they have like a big thing, and like... the whole body gets wet.
It's either that or get the fire hose.
just hose them down. My friend needs to be hosed down.
A baptismal hosing.
He is lucky, though. My buddy.
Yeah.
Because since he hasn't been baptized, he hasn't been wiped of the original sin.
Right.
So technically, he doesn't have to confess. He's not going to have to confess because once he gets baptized, that's pretty much wiping him of everything. So he's like extremely lucky because he has a lot to talk about.
Oh, gosh.
That's the first thing he was like, do I have to say everything when I confess? Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, sorry.
Well, that's cool. So let me know how that works, and we'll.
But once this is all over, guys, you will see me here.
Undivided attention. Cool.
Yes.
Well, as always, we have such a great time. If you couldn't tell, and we have room for one more
right here on my lap.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we have an additional microphone at the ready. So if you're in the Del Rio area and would like to join us on the podcast, we'd love to have you. You can talk about any number of things. We're two guys who dive, but we don't just talk about diving, as you can tell from this episode. But we definitely will share whatever comes to mind. We just kind of keep it interesting and changing up. And we'll talk about everything from the local to the worldwide, as we did today. We're international.
We're international
today. And
it's a lot of fun, guys.
It is a lot of fun.
I mean, it really is. I mean, standing here in front of cameras, I know it can be overwhelming. I know at first I was a little, if you
quiet.
Go back to,
I did. I looked back at some of the.
If you go back to the earlier episodes, like the very first ones, I was kind of like camera shy.
Yeah.
And It just
Look at you now.
I know. Look at me now. I'm even getting my radio voice down.
That's right. That's right. You gotta affect your voice to make it sound just right for TV and radio. That's right. It sort of sound like Tom Brokaw.
Tom Brokaw.
I was Tom Brokaw. He had such a distinctive, he has a distinctive voice. Was talking. You ever seen Nightly News?
I don't have it down that good, but I'm working on it.
What I was doing was not good. That's what they call throwing up in the mic. Whoa, thank you. That was Harry Carey. Wow. We'll just say yes and move on.
That was funny when I said that in the episode. Just say yes, Robin.
Just move on. But yeah, it's all about having fun and just talking about things. And you'd be surprised how very easy and relaxing it is. We probably need to see if Nick can come back on. He was just going through his training, his open water portion, and so we got him on for an episode there, and that was one of the funniest episodes.
It was probably the funniest episode I've ever done. But I think I egged him on.
Yeah.
That's what happened, and he just started rolling.
Exactly. It's because it's conversational. We keep it conversational. We have notes here and that we go by as far as giving an outline, but obviously we have the flexibility of just going anywhere we want with it, and we can, and we often do, because doggone it, it's our show, and we can do what we want to.
Robert was perspiring during that show.
I was embarrassed in that show. I was like, let's keep it family friendly.
But it was one of the
Don't want
funniest.
to upset the people who have parents that might be watching.
But Troy, too, when Troy comes on,
Yep.
Troy's, yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, Rob. Have fun.
That's right. That's right.
Troy,
But then he can get on a roll.
I don't have you down, Troy. I'm working on it. I'm
Yes.
working on it.
That's right.
How's the coffee?
So what was your first? What was your? It's like what was your impression of the new pope? I'm sorry, I don't do impressions, but I thought it was good.
I thought he was good.
What is your impression of the new pope? Impressed so far. I mean, I like his credentials going in.
Yeah, his credentials are going in. He's one of the, he's the first one from Latin America.
Yep.
And from what I was reading today, you have a lot of the Italians that are upset because they dominate.
Why?
Well, because
They've had one for 600 years.
Yeah, there was 45 popes.
Yeah.
And they finally, when Pope John Paul II came in, he was
first Polish one.
He was the first Polish one, and they haven't gone back to the Italians. I don't know how they go about, doing the whole procedure. I know the Cardinals, they elect somebody, they pick names. I don't, everything's behind closed doors. But
I'm suddenly thinking of what's the cup when you're for boat racing?
Oh yeah, the
Stanley Cup.
No. It's the I know what you're talking about.
Well, the Stanley Cup, or whatever it is, just went back to the United States. It's like, what is the Papal Cup just went back to the Italians?
Yeah, but he's the first one from Latin America, but he's also one of the first ones. I can't remember what they call it.
Jesuit.
Yeah, he's the first Jesuit, which
Yes.
is kind of like a total commitment of poverty and he takes a vow of poverty. And so I know the Brazilians the Argentinians are extremely happy.
Yeah.
But I did read today that apparently some of the people from Italy are kind of like, hey, when is it going to come back to us?
Well, I look at it this way. I was more, I'm not Catholic, but, I acknowledge the influence that the Pope has in the Christian community. So I was very pleased at the credentials and where his focus is on very much the more traditional view of things.
Right. Like, I know that he had made comments about the gays and all of that. He was very firm, like, no, that's not
compassionate, but here's what God says about it.
That's not a no.
Yeah.
That's a no go. You can't do that.
And I do think, if I remember, I read correctly, he kind of bucked the rest of the Catholic Church, or a heavy portion of the Catholic Church, by going ahead and blessing children that were born out of wedlock.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, I'm pleased to see that because those belong to God anyway.
Right. They're God's children.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, once they get older, they still have to make decisions. You know, they still are accountable.
Mm-hmm.
But don't hold their parents' mistake against them. They're just little babies. They don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
So I was like, yeah, go for it. I like this guy.
You know, us like Catholics, you know, we don't condone, of course.
Right.
I don't want to get too into the religion thing, but I mean, you know, like abortions and things like that. You know, that's extremely frowned upon.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are certain situations that do, you know, require that, but it's just a big burden to carry.
Yep.
People got to do
it. Is
it.
a big burden.
But you know, obviously there are reasons that you need to do something like that. I mean, because I remember hearing somebody talking about that, and they were saying, "Well, I can't do that, you know, because I'm Catholic, and you know, it's frowned upon." But it was a condition. It was a big thing. Like it was a health thing.
Truly a life of the mother.
Right. So she was concerned, and I was reading it, but that she was concerned because how was she going to ask the father, you know, for forgiveness during confession? It was a lengthy issue, but you know, obviously, if it's a health
the
thing,
difference is: are you struggling with this, or are you just like, no big thing?
Yeah,
that's
you know that was a weekend mistake.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
God's all about searching your heart.
Right.
Where are you at about it, and repentance and all that good stuff. So anyway, generally you like the new Pope?
Yeah,
so far?
I think he's great. I think he's doing well. I mean, I was with him having lunch, and
what brought him to Del Rio? Well, he was doing some bass fishing, and heard that we had a great.
He was doing some bass fishing. He heard that the lake is so down. They're like now just in a little
as
pond.
Christians, we do like fishing.
Oh, so. Yeah, we're fishermen. You know, we're fishermen. We're the fisher of souls.
That's right.
The fisher of men. And but
feed a man a fish or teach a man a fish.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, cool.
So
anyway, well, this would be like the outtake reel or something. Yeah. So anyway, we've had a great time.
As always,
going way all over the map, and we'd love to hear from you. Jump in the chat room when we're doing the show, or send us comments on via the YouTube. You can always comment and like our, subscribe to our channel, etc. And as a matter of fact, in approximately an hour after we get done with the podcast here, I'll be uploading it, so you can check it out later and maybe go, what in the heck did they say back there? Catch our blooper reel. Oh, no kidding. The whole show is a blooper reel. So without any further ado.
You're going to put together a blooper reel.
It's all there for everybody to see. We hide nothing. We're very transparent, unlike our current administration.
Yes.
So anyway, without any further ado, that finishes out for this week, and we'll see you next week on another fun-filled, exciting episode of Two Guys Who Dive.
Good night.
See ya.